In the small, peaceful village of Ravenswood, nestled between dense forests and flowing rivers, lived a young girl named Emily. She was known for her kindness and warmth, a bright light in the lives of those around her. But all that changed one fateful evening. It began when Emily wandered into the forbidden forest, a place elders warned never to enter after sundown. She had gone in search of a lost goat, but instead, she found something sinister. The villagers spoke of an ancient spirit, a dark force trapped in the depths of the woods, longing for a vessel. And that night, Emily became its host. When she returned home, something was different. Her eyes, once filled with warmth, now held an eerie emptiness. She barely spoke, and when she did, her voice carried an unnatural tone. Days later, the horrors began. One by one, villagers started disappearing. Their bodies were found in the morning, mangled and lifeless, their faces frozen in terror. The once lively village became gripped with fear. People locked their doors at dusk, whispers of a dark presence filling the air. They spoke of shadows moving at night, of an inhuman figure lurking in the dark corners of the village. It wasn't long before someone claimed to have seen her, Emily, standing over a lifeless body, her hands drenched in crimson. Her own parents were among those who began fearing her. Though they wished to believe she was still their daughter, the changes in her were undeniable. She would vanish for hours, only to return covered in dirt and scratches. Her laughter, once bright and full of joy, now sent chills down their spines. The village elders convened, seeking counsel from the oldest seer, Margaret. She had seen many evils in her lifetime, but none as menacing as this. "She is possessed," Margaret declared, her voice trembling. "The spirit of Malachi has taken her." The villagers were torn between fear and sorrow. How could the sweet Emily be a vessel of such evil? But the killings continued, and the people knew they had no choice. A ritual had to be performed to free her soul. On the night of the cleansing, the elders restrained Emily, who fought with an unnatural strength. Her screams echoed through the night, her voice shifting between her own and something inhuman. The chants of the elders filled the air as they burned sacred herbs and sprinkled enchanted water upon her. The spirit fought back, writhing and shrieking, but the elders persisted. And then, with a deafening wail, the dark entity was cast out, vanishing into the wind like smoke. Emily collapsed, her body weak, her eyes flickering back to normal. When she awoke, she found herself surrounded by fearful yet relieved faces. But what followed was more terrifying than any nightmare. She was told everything: the murders, the terror, the blood on her hands. At first, she refused to believe it, but the truth weighed on her like an unbearable curse. The villagers, though freed from fear, could never look at her the same way again. She was the girl who had killed their loved ones, even if she had been under a spirit's control. Shunned and broken, Emily withdrew into herself, haunted by the horrors she had unknowingly committed. The guilt was unbearable. She no longer saw a future for herself, only an abyss of regret. The whispers of the village tormented her, the accusing eyes burned into her soul. Her parents, though devastated, still loved her. But even their love could not erase the scars the village bore. They tried to console her, but she felt like a stranger in her own home. The walls seemed to close in on her, the air heavy with judgment. One night, she stood at the edge of the river, staring into the dark waters below. The thought of ending it all consumed her, the only way to silence the voices in her head. But just as she was about to step forward, Margaret appeared behind her. "Your life is not over, child," the old woman said gently. "You were a victim, not a monster. The spirits took your body, but they could not take your soul. You must fight to live." Emily wept. She had believed herself beyond redemption, but in Margaret's words, she found a sliver of hope. Maybe, just maybe, she could still find a way to atone. Margaret took her in, away from the village that no longer welcomed her. Under the old woman's guidance, Emily learned about the supernatural forces that once controlled her. She studied ancient texts, helping Margaret perform cleansing rituals for others affected by dark spirits. It was her way of seeking redemption, of proving to herself that she could still be good. Years passed, and though the scars of the past never fully faded, Emily found purpose. She became a protector, ensuring no other soul would suffer as she once did. And while the village still whispered her name in fear, she no longer feared herself. For even in darkness, a shadow can still find the light.